Got written up because I took my son to the ER. I live in the US and work third shift 11 p.m. 7 a.m. so that my toddler who goes to daycare can have at least one parent home to watch him whenever he is sick, which is once a month minimum. Daycares are a breeding ground for childhood illnesses. Last week he caught croup, and after OTC medication wasn't enough to snap his fever, I took him to the hospital. I was there from 8 a.m. until my wife got off work. At that point I had been awake for 24 hours trying to keep my kid calm and comfortable while in a hospital with strangers coming and going and prodding and poking the poor kid for hours. Not to mention that I was looking at an 8-hour shift starting in a few hours. My wife convinced me to call out, pointing out that I was clearly exhausted and driving a forklift like that is as dangerous as driving a car. So I asked for a work excuse from the nurse. Wrote my manager a text explaining the situation and that I couldn't come in, and sent that with a picture of the excuse. Yesterday I came into work and see that the manager had sent me an email saying to come see him. When I got to work, I made my way over and he explains that I am getting written up with a verbal warning because, quote, if we let you call out because your kid is sick, then we have to let everyone call out too. I have made the decision to find a new job once I use up my accumulated PTO. The entire point of me working there is to have the flexibility to watch my son. But I know that regardless of what job is next, it's going to be the same expectation that my one and only reason for living is to work. I understand that work is necessary. But this expectation that I will put my family to the side just to make things easier for management is not something that I can accept. I don't know what to do anymore. Yes, boss. That's exactly it. Everyone should be able to call out to care for a dependent without penalty. Yeah, find a new job, man. This boss is an idiot. Let you call out? That's not how it works. You call out and they cover your shift. The reason is none of their business. Bring the sick toddler to work and let them run around for a bit. Would OSHA and your manager want you driving a forklift after being up for 24 hours with a sick kid at the ER? Is that the standard of safety your company is looking for in their business model? I would turn this around and ask them if they prefer next time that you show up to work and become a safety risk. I worked for a director of sales many years ago. He always made a point of telling me he was never going to have kids because he didn't want to work his ass off for them. I approached him one day to tell him I'd be in late the next day because my 3-year-old daughter was having a procedure done to her eye. He had the nerve to say, "What about your wife?" I said, "No. My daughter." He said, "I mean, can't your wife take her?" I said, "I'll be late tomorrow. My family always comes first." He and I never had another issue arise after that. Although he did harass others who took time for their family's needs. Sir, child neglect is a crime, and if your stance is to leave a sick child at home to come to work, I would like to see if HR and the company agree with that statement. You weren't calling out because your kid was sick, you were calling out because you could not work on that condition. Your boss is an asshole. I'm glad you're leaving. My kids come first, far ahead of any job. If we let you call out, yada yada yada, kid is sick. This is worth less than your full attention. Just sit there, play dumb, and let their hot air issue forth from their facial orifice. Don't give it a second thought. Conservatives' capitalism is the best economic system there is. Also, conservatives' something is destroying families. Must be commies. Call me out if I'm wrong here. We are all on Reddit. No real names. Burner accounts. Second or third accounts. Why is no one calling out these companies? You might. Big might on Reddit. Get called out at work for venting. I can't imagine a U.S. Lawyer not jumping to the idea of an employee venting about work on an anonymous social media account. Call your abusers out. I need to know where to stop spending my money. We vote with our wallets. Your manager is totally missing the point. I work in a warehouse and manage a team. If any member of my team had texted me that they'd been up for 24 hours for any reason, I wouldn't want them in the building. Even on foot, they'd be a risk, because their mental state might not be clear. Warehouses with heavy equipment running in every direction, coming from all sides, are not a place for anyone who is that fatigued. If we let you call out because your kid is sick, then we have to let everyone call out too. Yes, that's right, they absolutely should do that. I heard that. The last job before working for myself pulled several of these. One was you should have a backup babysitter if your kid has to go to the ER. He'd had an asthma attack at school and gone there by ambulance. So sure, I'm not a cardiovascular surgeon where someone's life would be in danger by dropping everything. Most of us are not. Dear employers, get a grip. Most sincerely, the folks who actually make all your money for you. Print out the write-up and frame it. Hang it at your desk workspace. Why would a manager expect a forklift operator to work after they had been awake for 24 hours straight? Your manager is an idiot. Sigh. I frequently hear of restaurant employees getting disciplined for calling out sick. I personally wouldn't want ill employees preparing my food. But call me crazy. Ultimately, if you're getting written up for being an inconvenience to management, you need better management. Best of luck finding an employer that hasn't promoted incompetent managers. Shakes head. We had a guy at work a few months back. Called in because he'd been up all night with a sick child. His boss's response: don't ask. Just tell me you aren't going to be in. Family always comes first. This is why I work where I do. They treat us like people. Knit machines. Can you get intermittent FMLA? You should be eligible if you have been at your job for 1 year and gave a valid medical reason for missing work. Some states also have other programs that protect your time off. For example, in California it's AB 109. Which is protected time off for caring for a sick family member. Bet your ass that if it was the boss's kid it would have been more than acceptable. Typical management in today's workplace. If we let you call out because your kid is sick, then we have to let everyone call out too. This is what is wrong with America work culture. Work till you die and only work, work, work. Doesn't matter if you or your family are sick or dying. You better be in on time or else we will fuck you over and threaten the job over your head while you are at your lowest. Sick, despicable shit, and there is just no other way to put it. Daycares are a breeding ground for childhood illnesses. Amen, brother. Their immune systems might be getting a workout, but the amount of strain it puts on working parents is sad. My spouse once got written up because they had used up all of their PTO by April. They'd had the audacity to be in the hospital for 2 weeks with meningitis. Now they're living with me in Germany, where it's illegal to write people up for being sick, and your unlimited sick days do not come out of your PTO. Time to find a new job. I've looked my boss in my face and told him that the only reason why I'm working here is for my wife and son. Family first, my dude. Got to love USA worker versus much anti-worker, pro-employer. I also once got in trouble for this. I was told sick days are for you, not for your children. At the time I was a single mom with no supportive family who could take my toddler.